Ethan lived a quiet, simple life in a small town. His house was modest, a two-story brick building with a tiny garden at the front, which he never tended to. Each spring, flowers bloomed and withered without him noticing. Life was calm, orderly, uneventful. And for most people, it might have sounded perfect. But for Ethan, it was lonely. Years of disappointment and heartbreak had left him cold. Love, once a hopeful idea, now seemed distant and unattainable. He had accepted that some people were just meant to be alone. Every day for Ethan followed the same pattern: wake up early, go to work at the local bookstore, return home in the evening, eat dinner alone, and sit in silence until sleep claimed him. He had no close friends, no family nearby, and very few people even knew his name. He wasn't bitter. He simply accepted life as it was. Yet, in the quiet corners of his heart, a small, fragile spark of hope still lingered, waiting for something he didn't even know could return. It was on one rainy evening that spark found its flame. Ethan had taken his usual seat by the window at the small coffee shop he frequented. He liked that spot because it allowed him to observe the world without being noticed. The rain fell steadily, soft and persistent, creating a quiet rhythm that matched the beat of his lonely heart. Outside, the streets glistened under the reflection of streetlights, almost like the town itself was holding its breath. And then she walked in. Emma. She wasn't flashy, but there was something magnetic about her presence. Her hair cascaded over her shoulders in gentle waves, and her eyes sparkled with a warmth that seemed to light up the room. She noticed Ethan sitting alone and smiled, a small, effortless smile that made him feel seen in a way he hadn't felt in years. Ethan felt an unexpected urge to speak. He asked, cautiously, if he could join her at her table. She nodded, and that was the beginning. At first, it was small talk, weather, books, trivial observations. But slowly, their conversation deepened. They shared memories, dreams, fears, and hopes. One conversation turned into many. And before Ethan realized it, Emma had become the most important part of his life. Days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. They spent hours together in that coffee shop, talking until the rain stopped, laughing over silly jokes, sharing sandwiches, and imagining futures together. They walked through parks, hand in hand, sharing ice cream cones and stories about childhood, marveling at the way seasons changed, how leaves fell, how snow blanketed the world in white. Emma was full of life, laughter flowed from her like music. And every time she spoke, Ethan felt lighter, warmer, more alive. For the first time in years, he believed in love again. He started dreaming again. He began to imagine a future with her, one filled with joy, companionship, and endless mornings. Emma once told him softly, "No matter what happens, I will always stay." Laugh, her words, her presence. Sometimes, he walked through the park where they had spent afternoons together, imagining her hand in his, imagining her voice calling his name. He kept every detail alive, the tilt of her head when she laughed, the sparkle in her eyes, the way her hair fell across her shoulders. Even after all these years, he remembered every small detail with perfect clarity. He wrote letters he never sent, words flowing like water from a heart aching with longing. He folded them carefully and kept them in a drawer, as if she might somehow read them, as if fate would intervene and return her to him. Then, one day, years later, the impossible happened. It was a cold morning. Ethan had grown older. Gray streaked his hair. Lines marked his face. He had stopped hoping, though unconsciously. As he walked to the coffee shop, a stranger approached him. "Are you Ethan?" he asked. Ethan nodded, puzzled. The man handed him an envelope. "This is for you," he said, walking away. Ethan stood frozen, staring at the envelope. Hands trembling, he opened it. Inside was a letter, written by Emma. His heart raced as he read. "Ethan, if you're reading this, it means I never got the chance to say goodbye. That night, I met with an accident. I tried to reach you, but I couldn't. I didn't leave you by choice. Life took me away from you. I'm sorry for the pain you went through. But please know, I never stopped loving you." Tears filled his eyes. For years, he had thought she left him. He had imagined she found someone else. That she forgot him, that she stopped loving him. But the truth was far different. She never left. She never had the chance. Ethan sat quietly in the same spot where their story began. He felt no anger, no heartbreak, no despair. Instead, he felt something new, peace. A quiet understanding that life sometimes separates us from those we love. Not because of choice, but because of circumstance. Sometimes, people don't leave because they want to. Life just takes them away before they can say goodbye. And all that remains are memories, love that never fades. Moments that never die, echoes of laughter that linger forever. Ethan stayed there for hours, reading the letter repeatedly, letting every word sink in. He remembered all the moments they had shared, all the promises, all the dreams. He smiled through his tears, finally understanding that love, though cruel, is the most beautiful thing one can experience. He didn't wait anymore. He didn't need to. Emma had never truly left him. She lived in his heart, and she always would. For the first time in decades, Ethan felt alive again. Not because someone returned, but because he had found the strength to carry her memory with love, grace, and peace. Life continued. Seasons changed. Ethan grew older, the town changed, but he never forgot her. The coffee shop remained, slightly worn but still standing. And sometimes, on rainy evenings, he would sit by the window, not waiting, but remembering. In memory, he found warmth, beauty, love, and finally, peace.